Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Let's start with Bonnie. So, once again, Bonnie thinking that Callista is going to sit there and do the right thing once she gets her money is really shocked when Callista is just like, okay, cool. Thank you for the money and I'm going to shoot you now. So she gets all like, she's all in surprise. She's all like, oh, you can't do this. This is on my wedding day. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe she should shoot you tomorrow because today is your wedding day. You don't want something like a gunshot wound to really sit there and mess up your day. What the hell is wrong with you? So she's trying to come up with a bunch of excuses, trying to stall. You can't do this because of Steve's downstairs. You're not going to really get far with the money. Justin's going to come after you. Victor's going to come after you. All this other stuff. And at this point, Callista's like, alright, cool. She grabs a pillow. Like, you know what, listen, I'm just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Nice good silencer. And just, we'll be done with it. So, she's about to sit there and shoot Bonnie. They struggle for the gun in some sort of way. It's weird, because, like, she had the gun behind the pillow. And so Bonnie sits there and rushes her. And I don't know exactly what happened. I guess the gun must have went up. Because when it went off, you see Bonnie, with a pool of blood, kills over. So at this point, I'm just like, Bonnie, you done turned bad and the worst. I mean, listen, she was already going to sit there and turn you in if you didn't get the money for another murder. And now you have 2 murders on your hands. I mean, listen, this makes a great soap opera, obviously makes for great content, but I'm like, if you just would have told Justin, who's a lawyer, he might would have tried to come up with a strategy to get you out of this whole thing. Instead, you're just like, nope, I'm just going to sit there and I'm just going to make this worse somehow. So now you got Justin downstairs, you got Kayla downstairs, you got the minister downstairs, like, yo, listen, we got to get the show on the road. So Kayla goes upstairs. She goes up there to go get Bonnie. So Bonnie's there trying to clean a dead body and feathers and blood and everything else. Kayla walks to the door. She's like, what the hell happened here? And at some point, I guess she must have seen Callista. Was like, yo, let me sit there and check on her. But Bonnie was like, nah, she's drunk. She's been drinking the last night. She had a couple of drinks this morning. Let's just leave her sleep, So they go downstairs. Bonnie has this dream, which honestly seemed like whatever. She had this dream that Callista comes downstairs. It's like, I object to this wedding, because she shot me. I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? That's a total possibility. I mean, you're not a doctor. You don't know if she was really dead. I actually wrote that down like, okay, she stopped the wedding. But of course, it was just a dream. So they continue with the wedding right up until Xander comes on in and stops the wedding, stops the wedding. Now Xander was sitting there talking to Gwen and he figured it out that Bonnie must have used that time when he got into the shower to distract him to taking the money. So he is furious. He does sit there and tell Gwen, because we need to sit there and stretch out the story for some odd reason, don't tell your dad, don't make my sacrifice be in vain. But your sacrifice isn't in vain anymore, because here's the thing, that line would have worked before Gwen started to tell the truth about Xander's involvement. That would have made sense before. And that's the reason why she probably didn't say anything. But Jack already knows. Jack already knows that was a ruse and that Xander was not there covering up for her. So, it's not exactly a sacrifice anymore. But he tells her, don't do it, don't lose your dad, yada yada yada. And of course, she agrees. So Xander goes to the wedding. He accuses Bonnie of, not even accused. He practically says, I say accused because, they don't know yet. But he accuses Bonnie of stealing $1 million. Kayla's all like, oh, you make it a habit of coming in and just like breaking up stuff or whatever. Xander's like, listen, the last time I did that, it was facts. Which, by the way, that's actually how I got my money. So, pretty much what I'm saying is the truth. And Bonnie's standing there, she's looking all scared, and, she's sitting there trying to cover it. Because, first of all, when Xander got there, Justin was like, what are you doing here? And Bonnie was all like, oh, I wanted somebody to sit there and represent your family since Victor's been or whatever, and your sons can't be here. And I'm like, oh, okay. But, side note, how many kids do Justin have? Is it just Sonny, or does he have a sister, or like does he have any more kids I should know about, or everyone's so damn connected, and I mean literally connected. It's just like the family tree is all tangled up. But Bonnie's standing there looking all scared and all nervous and everything. I'm like, Bonnie, please try to explain your way out of this one. I just have a feeling that Justin's going to sit there and stop the wedding, postpone the wedding, and meanwhile, that's going to be the reason why they don't get married up until now, until they find the dead body, which they will, and they'll find a gun, which they will. I just hope it doesn't take like about 6 to 8 months for them to actually get to that point, because they've been doing good for the most part, except for the whole Ciara and Ben thing. They've been doing pretty good. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. So Jack and Julie are worried about Doug. And what they don't know is that Doug is actually at Roman's place, having a steak and just eating and stuff. Now the thing is, when Doug is sitting there talking to Roman notices that there's something off. First of all, calling him John for some odd reason, and then mixing up Vivian with Marlena. So at this point, he knows that there's something off. On top of the fact that he's not with Julie, he's usually with Julie, he knows that there's something off. So he calls Julie. No, I think he calls Julie or Jack. I don't remember which one, but he calls one of them. And Julie is coming to all sorts of wild theories about where he can be at, as far as like locking her in the freezer to sit there and protect her from like robbers and stuff like that. Just all sorts of stuff. They get down there and they notice that Doug is just not making a lot of sense. And before, I guess, like, it gets more embarrassing for Doug, and Julie worries a little bit more, because I think Doug says something. I don't know exactly what he said, but he said something, and Julie just kind of stood there and looked. And Jack knew. He already went there about what it could be that's going on with Doug, and so he just kind of shut the conversation down, like, yo, let's just get him back home, and just get some rest, and whatever. So they get him back, and Jack is like, yo, listen, we may have to take him to a doctor. There's something off about him. And of course, at this point, Julie goes into full denial mode, trying to explain away his actions and the stuff that he said, and, she just doesn't want to hear anything more about it. When Gwen gets there, which, by the way, I'm going to sit there and ignore that little comment that Julie said, because, she's worried about Doug. When Gwen was like, listen, I heard what happened, I'm sorry to hear that. And she's all like, I'm pretty sure you wanted me and be a popsicle or whatever. I'm like, Julie, just go do what you gotta do. Anyway, Jack quickly tells Gwen that there's a possibility that it could be Alzheimer's. But gets right back to the conversation at hand. Because he wants to know what does Schneider actually have over Gwen to make her, be a drug mule pretty much. Now, Gwen wasn't there talking to Xander, and Xander was like, listen, when your dad asks you, what did he have over you? What are you going to sit there and say? And Gwen was like, I don't know. And Xander was like, yeah, that's the wrong answer. I'm still there thinking, okay, she probably came up with something between the time that she left Xander and her getting back to Jack. And she had nothing. And it was so bad that she got there, must have sat down for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes and was just like, I got an errand to run. Jack was like, you just sat down like 5 minutes ago. What do you mean you got an errand to run? So she just runs out the door. I'm like, Gwen, I mean, we all know that they're going to sit there and stretch out this story as far and as unnecessarily as they're going to sit there and do. Which is so stupid. Because, I mean, the minute that Jack does find out, he's going to call up Abigail, ask him to come back home, which is another conundrum in itself because, well, what are you going to do about Abby's role? Now again, I heard from a subscriber that the original actress is rumored to come back December for like a couple episodes. And if that rumor is true, and you know, people go on her Instagram or whatever, like, oh man, I'm so glad that you're coming back or whatever. Let's just remember Greg for a minute. Okay, let's just remember, what was his name? I'm gonna call him Lucky. Eric, oh my goodness. Anyway, let's just remember Eric. When he came back, he was only back for like 2 days, and then he just left. Which I would almost sit there and say it was kind of a waste of time, but they needed to have. I guess they needed to actually have it so that way they can get closure and they can just kind of both move on. But they really got to do something about this whole Abigail storyline, because this is just Abigail. They got to do something about Abigail. They got to do something about Sarah. It's just hope. There's just some glaring holes in this story. And in a way, they actually had an audacity to sit there and be like, alright, cool, let's just make a spinoff. You want to fix some of the issues that you got going on in the first show? No? We're just gonna... Okay. Alright. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm kind of missing some stuff, but I feel like that's actually about it, though. Yeah, I feel like that's about it. If I missed anything, please write it down in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And I just said that twice. See you in the next video.